kitty kitten Chuck. How you doing, buddy? How's the outside kitty? Haven't seen you in a few days. Where you been? You been out doing cat stuff? Yeah, now it's getting cold this morning. You're back for the heating pad. Yeah, back for the heating pad and some food. You're a good kitty. Anyway, folks, it's Tom, your frugal prepper. So I'm heading out here just to show you kind of what's going on with the garden here this morning. Just putting up this fence around it. So my neighbors lent me their T-post driving tool thing, which really is so much easier than hammering them in. But I'm just going along here putting up the fence. So here was the end of the first roll, and then I just cut a section out and wrapped around to make it a one piece, and then I'm putting these little things that come with the T-posts, the little wire things on there, and wrapping them around. I don't have fencing pliers, so I'm using electrician's pliers, which isn't ideal, but and the ground isn't perfectly level, so it kind of has some floppy areas on the top here and there, but it's good enough to keep the animals out, I do believe. And then right here between these two T-posts, it's going to be where I go in and out. I'm going to build some kind of a little gate thing or something here to get in and out so that I can get the mower and tiller and stuff in here. I threw back in like 10% of my potatoes last year, and they've all started to grow again. And I've kind of cleaned the weeds out of here once. I'll have to go through and clean them out again, I'm sure, but they are growing. And I've been trying to pull the weeds as much as I can up by the roots, but like some of the dandelions there are growing back. I'll let that grow back, and then I'll get I use a pry bar to dig down there and get the taproot loose and pull it out. But down here it's a little bit light. I got a little potato plant growing there, right there, and these other little ones around here. But I harvested more potatoes out of this area, so I'm not surprised. And then this bed was full of thistle, and so I dug down and got the thistle out by the roots. There's still more thistle in here, I'm sure, but thistle's one of those things that's just really hard to get rid of. So basically what I do is I'll till this up, I'll let it kind of start to germinate again, I'll pull all the plants out while they're young, and then once I get something planted in here and I keep the weeds knocked back long enough for it to get bigger, it'll shade out the weeds and I won't have a weed problem. It's why we plant so close together in Mittleider, or one of the reasons is it takes the weed pressure away. So there's my next roll of fence. It's going to come all along down through here, and that roll should get me up to this corner. Then I have another roll to go down through here, and I'm going to have enough left over. So what I did on my little bed over here, it's my little 10-foot bed that goes the wrong way for the sunlight. So when I plant, I'll always have a little bit less growth on the plants on this end of the bed than down on that end, because my sunlight moves, this way. And so this bed, isn't optimized for the sunlight. But what I've done here is I took these two T-posts and I moved them the other way. So I'm just going to run a piece of that fencing down through here, and that's where I'm going to plant a lot of my beans at, my pole beans. They'll grow up the fence. It'll work. It's not exactly Mittleider, but it'll work. This bed still needs cleaned out. I still have to get all the strings out of it. I'm growing celebrity tomatoes this year, which are a semi-determinate tomato. They get about 3 or 4 or 5 feet tall, and I'm just going to plant those down here and stake them up. I'm not going to try to grow them up the strings, because really you want a non-determinate tomato to grow up a string. So I'm just going to plant my celebrities here in this bed, and then I'll probably plant some cucumbers and beans and stuff back in here. And my peppers are also going to go out in that bed too. But I do want to plant a lot of pickling cucumbers this year, because I had a miserable cucumber harvest last year, and I want to try to get some cucumbers to make some pickles. Luckily, Oh How Happy Gardener hooked me up with some pickles last year, or some cucumbers, and I made some pickles. But I do like my homemade pickles really well. So yeah, once I get all that done, then I'm going to put these along the outside of the fence. Alright, and so I'll do 2 or 3 rows of these. They'll clamp onto the T-posts, as you can see right there. Those will clamp onto the T-posts, and those will allow me to run my wire 6 inches out from the T-posts. And then somewhere I got a thing of wire. So I went with the string stuff here last year. The string shot cord does not work as well as the wire. The groundhog could get past that. But I lost my roll of aluminum wire. I couldn't find it anywhere last year because it was a gardening nightmare. And so what I did is I ordered another one off of Amazon for this year. This is a 1/4 mile of aluminum fencing, electric fence wire. It just seems to work well. There seems to be little gaps in where this will shock at, and the groundhog was able to just run and get right under it. So now if he tries to run and get under it, he's going to run into the fence. He's going to be standing there. It's going to be aluminum wire. It's going to shock him. He's going to run away. He's not going to want anything to do with it, hopefully. So last year I had a miserable harvest. The groundhog got in, ate all my beans, killed all my tomato plants. He just raised havoc. So these are my strawberry plants that survived their barewood transplant last summer. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them left. Hopefully they'll send out some runners and start to propagate this year, now that those are established and they lived. My raspberries are looking great. These are my summer ever-bearing raspberry plants. They're already blossoming, and they really have spread out from that single stem I had last year. You can see all these other plants down here starting. So I'm going to have a nice raspberry harvest here. Again, on the raspberries, I just feed them about 3 times a year with some Mittleider weekly feed. The strawberries I'll feed every week. But yeah, that's what's going on so far. It's fun times. But the taters are looking happy anyway. So I find that that's best. If you just throw back 10% of your potatoes into the ground and cover them, and when you harvest late summer, they'll just grow back when it's time. Like, they'll just stay dormant and like they automatically know when it's time to wake up and start growing again. And all you gotta do is pull the weeds out away from them. So let's see if I can squeeze around this roll of fencing. Alright. But yeah, so that's what I've been up to. Believe it or not, between the T-posts, the hooks, the plastic pieces, and the 3 rolls of fencing, I got about $210 in this like fence. It's crazy. Yeah, you can buy a lot of canned green beans for $210. So I got some plants up here so far, but it's a little early to put them in yet. It's not freezing out, so I'm leaving them outside. But these are my celebrity tomato plants. There's 10 of them. I've got 2 bell peppers, 1 jalapeno pepper, and then I've got some sage and basil and stuff for planting in the front flower pot. It's where I grow my spices and herbs. So LeBaron's still here. The hub's supposed to be here today. If it truly doesn't rain this afternoon and evening, I'll put it on this evening. Hopefully I'll get that out of here so I can get that blue car out here and look at it. It just is what it is, you know. But I try to, you know, when it's raining like it was last night, I do computer work inside on the side for my customers, and when it's not raining, I'm out here fixing cars or working on the garden. So, you know, fun times. But anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. It's Tom from Frugal Prepper.